Hey, what's going on, weavers? In this video, we're making a set of Paracord pocket-sized nunchucks that are a super fun skill toy. They're not hard to make, and with the method I'll show you, you'll only need some Paracord and some basic Hex Nuts. However, if you got one of our kits for this project, you'll have everything you need in the box. So they're not quite nunchucks, not quite Begleri, let's just call them Chuck-Larry. So that being said, let's weave. We're going to start off with our joiner cord, and at one end we're going to tie a single strand diamond knot. Make one overhand loop, and then make a second overhand loop and lay it partially on top of the first one so that it looks a bit like a Venn diagram, which is the same as a Venn diagram, but it was drawn by a Viking. Then with the running end, go over the outer cord going through the lobe on this side, and then under and through the Venn diagram in the middle, under the outer cord on the left. Do as I'm doing so that the majority of your cord is on the left side. Bring that running end back around to the right side and then go over the outer cord, under the next two, and then through the middle opening. From there, cinch the slack out of the knot and work the excess out to the left side, or the side where the cord is coming out of the middle of the knot. Cinch that knot almost to the start of the standing end, leaving a short tail. Then we're going to drop one of the hex nuts onto the joiner cord, and we're going to set this aside. Now from here, we're going to start making the first of our two nunchuck handles. With the first cord, we're doing the work from the midpoint and make a reverse S shape. Then lay the second cord over top of that. From there, the bottom cord comes up going over two cords and then under and through the bite on the top right. Then pull the cord through. Then the opposite on the other side, the top cord comes down over two cords and then under and through the bite on the bottom left. Tighten that up, and this is the base of our crown sinnet. Make sure all of your cords are nice and even. Now to continue the sinnet, from this point we're going to start with one cord, doesn't really matter which one, make an elbow and move counterclockwise, placing one cord over the next until the last one goes through the elbow that was made with the first cord. Cinch that up and continue that method of bending the cords over each other going counterclockwise to form the sinnet. If you see the round shape forming, you know you're on the right track. After 4 knots, we're going to do something kind of crazy, so get ready for this. We're going to cut the midpoints of the two cords where we started. I'm using my flush cutters, but of course a good pair of scissors will work just fine, or even a precision craft knife with the paracord against a safe cutting surface. Use your lacing needle if needed to make some space for the scissors to get under. With those 4 cord ends sticking out, we can now snip off the excess and melt all 4 ends where they are. This is our starter piece for the handles, and because they're a set, we have to make 2 pieces, so do this a second time with your other set of cords. So we did that crazy move of cutting the cords where we started, because remember that joiner cord we already made? Well, we're going to attach a lacing needle to the cord, and you'll pass that joiner cord through the middle of the first few crown sinnet knots and pull the cord through. From here, we're going to then continue tying our crown sinnet handle going around the joiner cord. As you can see, I'm using a tabletop vise to hold the handle in place while I work on it, but that's not necessary at all. I'm just using it so that my hands aren't getting in the way of showing you what's going on. So repeat that same process, tying going up the joiner cord until the sinnet reaches 2 3/4 inches or just a hair under 7 centimeters. After that, clean up the excess cords by snipping them off, melting them, and then pressing down on the ends to lock them in place. And after that, we're going to, like before, pass the joiner cord through the 3 sinnet knots of the second starter piece. And then from there, we're going to complete tying the second handle, same length as the other side. As for the gap between the handles, aim for about 1¼ inches, but don't worry about being too accurate as we can finalize it at the end. Continue tying the crown sinnet for the second handle until you've reached the same length as the first. Then at this point we can snip off the excess cords and melt the ends where they are and press down on them to lock them in place. Then we're going to place the second hex nut on the joiner cord. And then to lock that in place, we're going to tie a second single strand diamond knot. Same method as before. The crown sinnet knots can be slid up and down the cords if you pull hard enough, but that won't be a problem because the momentum as they swing will always keep them at the ends of the knots and hex nuts. Now, when you're cinching up the placement of the second diamond knot, we're going to have to adjust the placement so that when the handles are pulled outwards towards the diamond knots and against the hex nuts, we have a 1.25 inch gap between the handles. Now, before you snip off the excess of the joiner cord, you can always leave a small tail of excess so that you can play around with the length in between the handles, as this will affect how you play with the nunchucks. For more space between, just work a bit more slack through to the middle, but I feel the length of 1.25 inches is perfect for the tricks that I like to do. And once you have that dialed in, you can start playing with them. And here are a few basic moves to get you started. Here's the double rollout, much like the way you open a balisong or butterfly knife. These are index finger rebounds. Here's a figure 8 swing. And this repeater move is what I like to do with a chetki. So yeah, just start swinging them around and have fun. The learning curve on these are a bit more steep than Begleri, but I guarantee you they're super satisfying to play with. So channel your inner Bruce Lee or Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and make yourself a set today.